Hello, hello, and happy not Wednesday. I'm Laura Orlando, the Stress Commando, and I go live every Wednesday afternoon as part of this networking boost, networking know-how. It's an episode where we help you know how to learn and enjoy stress-free networking like we do in our Down and Dirty Networking online community. But it's not Wednesday. So what am I doing here? And boy, do I have a special treat for you. So for those of you watching live, I'm so glad you are here. So what we're in store for is I actually have a guest with me and we're going to have a really cool conversation. And the topic is, it's pretty epic. It's how to get sales and opportunities without selling a thing. And we're going to share a real life experience of what happened yesterday and why we had to postpone this live until today. So we're going to peel back the curtain. We're going to give you all of our insider secrets from something we simply just did and we're still experiencing. And it's something I have been doing and training and teaching for years. And it's something we know to be true in our Down and Dirty Networking community. So why are we different and how does this work? So Down and Dirty Networking is a 100% relational networking online community. Can you tell I'm brain dead from last night? Oh, so we're 100% relational networking online community. See, we believe there's two types of networking. There's traditional networking, which is more transactional, where you're kind of say, hey, hi, my name is, and we exchange leads, referrals, job offers, things of that nature. So more transactional in nature. But I've always believed there's this other type of networking, and I call it relational networking, where you're learning from and about someone by having meaningful conversations to build lasting and authentic relationships. And in our Down and Dirty Networking community, we are 100% relational networking focused. So there are no speakers, there are no 30-second commercials, there's no sales pitches. So no pitch slapping allowed at all. So what we try to do here every Wednesday is show you what relational networking can do for you. Relational networking is a mindset, it's a skill set, and it can be an event. See, I believe networking is all three of those things. And when you adopt a relational networking mindset, the activity and the events that you attend for networking skyrocket. They get more fun, they get more meaningful. So today I'm super excited that I have a guest that was with me. So yesterday I spoke on a summit. So thank you, Zena Solomon. Big shout out. I spoke on a summit. We were there for almost, oh gosh, I did from beginning to end, and we'll get into the details, but it was over 8 hours and it was a really late night, which is why I couldn't go live yesterday. But it was exceptional. And it was 100% a masterclass and representation of the power of relational networking. Oh, and I see some people live. So thank you guys so much. Get up and chat. Let us know where you're watching from. Say hello and join our conversation. And so one of the speakers that was with me yesterday, Brenda Warren, is agreed to dust off the sleepy like I did of the eyes and join me on stage. And you guys are going to love her. So let's go ahead and bring her to the stage. Brenda Warren, the solutionist. Hello, my friend. Hello, my friend. I mean, how long was yesterday? I mean, because you and I were there. I mean, we spoke late at night, but we were there through the whole thing. How many hours were we on that summit last night?
It was close to 8 hours because it started at 4 and I clocked that I got off the Zoom at 11:47.
Yeah, that was insane. So talk to the audience a little bit. So first of all, thank you for being on here, especially for us being late. But number one, I want to really state, yes, it was insane. And I was exhausted. My body's in so much pain right now. But I'm curious. For me, it was tremendous value. Like, oh my gosh, there was just so much value for being there. How would you say yesterday was for you?
I would say Zena put on an absolutely fabulous event. There was no requirement for us as speakers to be there for the whole thing. And Zena even expressed her surprise that we did stay from beginning to end. But the reason I wanted to do it was because when I saw the lineup of speakers, I thought there was no way I was going to miss an opportunity to listen to these men and women speak, especially based on the topic that they were speaking on. So I took lots of notes, and I love the fact that I heard things that I had not heard before. There were some things that, the basic things, the common things that pretty much everybody shared. But just everybody's slight difference in perspective was very refreshing.
I absolutely agree. So let's kind of connect the dots. And you and I both are connected through a mastermind, and our
Mhm.
wonderful mentors, Chris and Jen, and their favorite quote is the Steve Jobs quote, as you know, which is you cannot connect the dots looking forward. It's only when you're looking backwards that you can
Mhm.
connect the dots. And I'm paraphrasing. And
Right.
looking backwards, the amount of dots that had to connect, or the way I look at it is the amount of dominoes that had to be set up to fall for this perfect opportunity is
Mhm.
quite impressive. And so, you and I recall meeting you. I was attending a challenge. It was the Chris and Jen challenge, and
Mhm.
you were in the challenge, and I just connected with you. And then you were on every other challenge. And then ultimately, I got to connect with you in the mastermind. And so, what is your recollection of our connection? Because I know your experience might be different than what I remember. But when you look back, where did we get to today
I
and
think it was
connecting the dots?
it was just that I was fascinated by what you do. You were a stress commando, and at the time I met you, I was in deep stress. And I can honestly say that as someone that was navigating a traumatic brain injury, a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress from my time in the Marine Corps, and all the other life things that were lifing at the time, it was refreshing and nice to have a friend that understood how to help someone de-stress. And you invited me to one of your meetings. It was my first introduction into your community, and we just struck it off from there. And I don't know, it just over time, as we began to get to know each other, we discovered we were both servant leaders, and we had a lot to share, and we just clicked, and it's been nice ever since. So I really value your friendship and your professional expertise and how you show up on a daily, because I'm telling you, as someone with chronic pain, showing up wasn't something that I was used to doing. And I also love more than anything is that you're not a whiner. There are so many people that live in chronic pain that they trauma bond and trauma dump, and you've never done that. And I thank God for that, that we could have real conversations about real things, and it's always not surrounded about our pain. That's a gift.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I wasn't really fishing for a compliment, but I'll take it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love and adore you. And I'm so impressed with you. And first, publicly, again, let me say thank you for your service being a Marine.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I vibed with you right out of the gate. I mean, you were just so impressive. And I am so glad that we've been able to develop this relationship. And if you're watching, whether you're watching live or on replay, Brenda has instant access to me. Certain people have penthouse access. Some people have lobby access. Some people have third floor access. Brenda's got penthouse access. Whatever she needs, I
Yes.
am right there with her. And
And
I
it's
heard a phrase.
mutual.
Yeah, and I heard a phrase last night in the summit that I wrote down, and I immediately thought of you and
Mhm.
Deb, who's another one of the people that was on with us, that are friends of ours in the mastermind. They said you need to find your business bestie. And
Mhm.
I absolutely agree with that. And that's one of the things we really pride ourselves inside our community is how important it is to not be on that island of alone, how important it is
Mhm.
to have the support of people that are truly cheering you on with a positive can do mindset, but seeing where you are. So, what I appreciate is you see the things that I experience and you acknowledge it, but you don't define me by it. And
Mhm.
it's so easy to be defined by the things that we experience, and that can keep us stuck, and that can put us in leaning more towards that whining mindset. And
Mhm.
I prefer to move forward, and I prefer to move forward with excellence with whatever level of energy I will give you today. I assure you, my 100% today is going to be a little bit lower than it was yesterday, given that summit,
Mhm.
but you will always get 100% of whatever I have in the tank. And one thing I know is, yeah, the physical energy may be in the gutter right now today, and pain may be really, really high, but my vibrational energy is through the roof. And
Mhm.
Brenda, you're definitely someone that increases my vibrational energy. And I want to kind of dig into that a little bit because I'm a firm believer. And why I really started looking for another way to network and create more meaningful connections was when you have conversations like this, your vibration just goes through the roof, and you can overcome anything physical. You can overcome any other challenge, that an obstacle that you might be facing, because vibrationally you're firing on all cylinders. You have clarity, you have energy, you have joy in that space. And for those who've never heard the term vibrational energy, I feel all day long your physical energy is going down unless you take a nap. And
Mhm.
but your vibrational energy can go up or down. You can either be depositing or subtracting from it. And with someone like Brenda, or maybe you have a business bestie, they're always depositing into your vibrational energy.
Mhm.
And so, Brenda, how important is it for you to have vibrational energy people around you in business?
It's extremely important because I'm intuitive as well. And so I feed off of other people's energy, good or bad. And if I'm in a room with a whole bunch of negative people, I feel that negative building. I thank God that over the years, I've learned how to do what I call clear and shore up. And if I'm in a space where people are drawing a lot of negative energy, I know how to put up enough walls to protect myself. And if I feel at any point that I cannot stave off the negativity, I remove myself from that location because I protect my peace at all costs. Because it's important that I stay in what do you call it, attitude of gratitude and of peace, because there's a direct correlation with the level of pain I experience based on negativity or positivity that's going on in my life. And so when it comes to aligning myself with people in business, I seek out other servant leaders, people that live in the attitude of gratitude. And I avoid people that I call emotional, spiritual, mental, financial vampires because they suck the life out of you. And I have no problem letting somebody know that they're not my vibe. I do it in a nice way, but I make sure that I protect my peace, I protect my energy, because it's the only way I'm going to show up and be my best, so I don't miss opportunities like what's presented with me when you called and said, "Hey, Brenda, I heard about this event. I think you'll be perfect for it. Why don't you apply?" And I did, and we ended up being on the same stage.
See, that is awesome. And I'm glad it was a good segue because you're Brenda, you're amazing. You know where I'm going with this thing. So it's one of the reasons why I wanted to pivot. So I really dove in a lot to traditional networking. And if you've watched any of these episodes, you've heard the story
Mhm.
behind that. But it became such a chore and such a slog because everybody was going around pitch slapping and pitch and
Mhm.
sell, sell,
I
sell.
love that term, pitch slapping.
Pitch slapping because I have to articulate it really well. And so I had to think of it, especially today with as tired as my
Mhm.
brain is, pitch slapping. So anyway, but I was that person. So when I get pitch slapped, I give people a lot of grace because I was that person, because that
Mhm.
is what I thought networking was all about. And what I've come to realize, that is absolutely not what it's about. But yet there are those people that feel that more of that traditional transactional networking is the way that you get sales, the way you get opportunities. And though there is a place for that, and if you
Mhm.
are in that traditional space, my recommendation to you is to adopt a relational networking mindset in those activities, and it'll change the game for you. That was my first stepping stone. But ultimately, when you 100% align yourself relationally and only focus on that relational networking, that is where you absolutely eliminate the energy vampires once and for all, because
Absolutely.
everyone's heart centered, everyone's like minded, everyone's cheering you on and wanting the best things for you. And so let's kind of go into that and talk about the summit. So if you're watching and you're thinking, but I really need sales and I really need opportunities, how do I do that without selling, which is the title of today's
Mhm.
show, I want to really unpack that a little bit. And so if you circle back, I was needing so down and dirty networking, I knew we needed to do a one-to-many strategy. And I, for those that don't know, after diagnosis, I've been mostly homebound. So technology is the tether to the outside world for me.
Mhm.
So I no longer could do the keynotes and the outside meetings and the outside networking events. I could no longer do that. And so, how do I redefine things in the digital space? And if you want to know that story, you can reach out to me. I'll gladly tell you. But for the purpose of time, and because I want to get to more about Brenda, I sought out this workshop, and one thing led to another. And so I met Brenda. You heard at the beginning how we've developed a relationship, just pouring into each other,
Mhm.
creating value, being meaningful. And it goes back to learning from and about someone. So I was just intrigued and impressed with Brenda. And I wanted to learn more about her and more, from her. And so I just leaned into that. And anywhere I could, I would provide value. And that's how you build the relationship. And so fast forward, there was our mentors, Chris and Jen, were doing a new challenge. And so I wanted to
Mhm.
jump into the new challenge I was in. And I was grateful that I got to be asked to give a testimony for the mastermind that we're in. So I've always showed up powerfully as best as I could with excellence. Brenda does the exact same thing. And I was asked to give this testimony. So I was honored. I was like, oh, wow,
Mhm.
cool. And so I gave this testimony. And the minute I gave that testimony, I get a private message in the chat of the challenge. Hey, I see that you speak on AI, which is one of the other businesses that I have. Would you be interested in speaking in my summit? And so we started having a conversation, and I was so impressed with this summit and the way that she was doing it. And we had a wonderful conversation. And I was just so excited and honored to be asked, especially for the
Mhm.
caliber of speaker and event that she was going to be having. And I said, well, what can I do for you? So here's tip number one: always ask a question. What do you need where I can help you make this an easier event or the best event possible? She says, you know what? I really need a couple of more speakers. Great. What topics are you looking for?
Mhm.
I can reach into the mastermind. I know a bunch of people. Just let me know. She's like, oh my gosh, Laura. And then she gave me the topics. The first topic, I was like, oh, Brenda would be great for this. And so, yeah, I reached out to Brenda immediately. And that's how Brenda ended up on the summit. And then I recommended our friend Deb, and Deb ended up on the summit. And so, what I would tell you, Brenda, is having shown up powerfully, we really want to build a relationship with Zena.
Mhm.
Um, why was it important for you to be there the whole time? And why were you so excited to be a part of this summit? And how important, well, let me just back up. How valuable was that summit to you as you look back at it? And then, oh my gosh, connect that to our relationship. Like, can you connect the dots looking backwards and saying, it was really this right here that made this happen?
I connect the dots going backwards and forward on this one. And I say that because today I wrote an article on LinkedIn called Open Doors, Open Mind, Open Opportunities, Your Guide to Becoming a Recognized Expert. Now, see, what happened with you was basically an answer to a prayer. What I have been believing God for and what I have been purposely manifesting was to become the virtual tap-in queen. Tap-in is the method I created. And it's a 5-step strategic plan to help people move past their stuck points. Now, why is that important to the summit? Well, when you asked me to be told me about this summit and you told me what it was all about and who was doing it, first of all, I did the gut check. Is this something I really want to do? And I thought, yeah, if Laura's saying it's good, it's good. So then I checked it out. Then I met with Zena and I did my research on Zena because I always tell people to do that. And then I asked other people about her other events. So everything checked out. Great, I can do this. Now, once I signed on to do it and I knew what the requirements were, what they wanted us to do to be a part of the event, all the requirements and everything, I felt these were things I could easily do. And it was a way to sell without selling. I got to give out access to my community, the life community where we leverage impact for entrepreneurs every day. And I also was able to give out one of my ebooks, which is a guide to leads that convert. So that would give me exposure, which would give me the ability to potentially gain clients and also increase my credibility, my expertise, etc. But why was it important for me to be there from beginning to end? Number one, you invited me to this event. So I felt like I was not just representing myself, I was representing you. So when Zena allowed me, an unknown, to speak based on your word, I had to show up. See, if it had just been something I did, I might have just came for when I had to speak and went on about my business. But the fact that you had enough faith in me to be in this type of an event, I felt like I had to show up and support all the other speakers, as well as you and Deb Harrison, who's our other buddy from the mastermind. And it was an honor to be able to do that with the two of you. So for me, it was important for that. And also, I didn't want to miss out from, I'm a lifelong learner, Laura. And all of these people were speaking about network and AI, lead generation, etc. The topics were amazing. The speakers were awesome. And I thought, I'm not missing this. Yes, could I had to watch the replay because we're going to get the replay. But there's something about being there live when you can ask the question and you can feel the energy that will never be captured on a replay. And I always think a lot of people miss out on the good stuff because they're not in the room where it's happening and they're getting that leftover stuff. Now, it's going to be good on the replay. I will give you that because we have some phenomenal speakers. However, what the people that weren't in the live event missed is the energy. They missed the live chats as they were happening, the aha moments, that sense of belonging. You're always about being on the island of alone. I wasn't alone. It was 8 hours. It was past my bedtime. I was exhausted. I was in pain, but I was thrilled. I was energized, motivated, and excited to be there.
Oh, perfectly said. And I absolutely agree. And thank you. And so here's the takeaway I hope those watching will see is you show up excellent. You nurture a relationship and you treat it with the value that you want to be treated. And so I am grateful that she showed up. I was making sure to be there. I've always known early birds get the worm. I was unfamiliar with how this summit went. I wanted to be there to support Zena. I wanted to support Brenda and Deb because I had recommended them in, but I also wanted to learn. I'd never done one of these summits with Zena before, and I wanted to learn and make sure I was going to be the best speaker she ever had. And I think I told her that. What do you need me to do to be the best speaker you've ever had? She's like, well, beautiful. I've never had that question asked. And she told me, and I was like, great, that's what I'm going to do. And so I will always ask so I can deliver and personalize. And I really wanted to be there. I was careful with my energy because I was speaking so later in the event. I wanted to make sure I had enough energy to deliver a really kick butt, presentation. But it really is the power of being able to get sales and opportunity. It forced me, and if you've been watching, I lost my mom recently. So if you're looking at past episodes, you'll see I'm at my mom's house or randomly. But the power of relational networking is it's flexible with your life. And like I said, it's a mindset. And so this opportunity for me, I don't believe fell in my lap by accident, but it's allowing me to kind of get back in the game. And so I appreciated the opportunity, and to do it in such a powerful way was really quite impressive. And so I see, Brenda, we've got one of our guests here. So this is Meredith. And she's like, yes, I call those people vampires too.
Absolutely. Here's the thing, Laura, you talked about the relationship aspect. Think about this here. When you form a relationship with somebody and you're in networking and they invite you to an event, there's a stronger likelihood that people are going to show up with different energy because they understand they're not just repping. See, I think it's important for us to understand that when you're building relational networking, you understand that means that when you show up after you've been recommended by a fellow entrepreneur, you're not just repping your brand, you're repping their brand as well. Because imagine this, you, Laura, said, hey, Zena, this is my friend Brenda, and she's bringing the heat. And then I show up there, low energy, Brenda. Yeah, I'm here for this. Laura, maybe come to this. She's like, what is this crap you brought to my stage? She's not going to say, Brenda, that you brought to my stage. She was going to say that, but she'll say, Laura, you brought her. Now imagine, I'm very confident that today, when she woke up and she goes and she plays those, even in the event itself, she was like, not only is Laura valuable, but the people she surrounds herself with that she recommends are valuable and they can bring the goods. So when she has another event, she may reach out again and say, hey, ladies, are you up for event number 4, 5, 6, or 7? Or if she knows of an event, she may say, hey, Laura, are you and your friends available? I heard about this. It happens time and time again as I navigate through these networking streets. I love meeting people and I love finding out what people do. And I know that's your thing. Think about all the times we've been in different events, mastermind days, or different challenges, and how we each move through the crowd to gather other people. And it's not about the sale. It's about making real connections. I always start with, when I meet someone new, I always say, how can I support you? I'm not trying to sell them my mastermind. I'm not trying to sell them my books, my coaching, none of that stuff. That information will come in time, but I always start from a position of, what can I do for you? Because
that's awesome.
It's biblical law. It says, give and it shall be given.
I love that. I love that. Meredith is saying, hey, Brenda.
Hi.
And Meredith is also saying, Laura proves she can be trusted and upped her reputational capital. That's it. I love this word, reputational capital. And Brenda and Deb just made me look like an absolute rock star last night. They crushed it.
Because you are.
You guys crushed it last night. It was so good. And I was just like, oh, I've got to really show up for these guys. And so I really, appreciate it. But that term reputational capital, it's the one thing you can control. Throughout my corporate career, people were, it looks like I hop, skipped, and jumped, but it was companies being acquired and companies going out of business. It was a transition that was very organic. But the reason it was organic was the reputation that I have. And Meredith and I are in a women's group, and the executive director of the American Business Women's Association, Renee Street, is the one who said that term. And I was in one of the conferences, and she said reputational capital, and I went, wait, what? Like, what is this? And she's not wrong. It's the one thing you can control, no matter what job you're in, however many industries you're in. This is the thing that you control, and how you show up matters. And if you were watching this, Brenda had her camera on the entire time. It was absolutely incredible. I could not have my video on early, or I would have zero energy to speak. If I was not speaking, I would have had my video on. I would have been engaged there to support Brenda and Deb. And what I love is one of my podmates, also from the mastermind, was like, Laura, I really want to come. She knows Brenda, she knows Deb. I want to support all three of you. And was constantly texting me to make sure she knew the times, to know how, to really best support us. And not only did she attend, but she also upgraded to VIP. So now I look like even a bigger rock star, because not only did I get people to the event, I mean, Meredith was there as my client. I had a couple other, Catherine was there, Darren was there. I appreciate that they were all there. But I brought quality people that were engaged in chat. They had their cameras on, and they showed up powerfully. This is how you raise your vibrational energy. This is how you up your reputational capital. And so I've done various YouTube videos that say, the trajectory of your career is equal to the trajectory of your reputational capital and the trajectory of your relational networking relationships. So if your relationships are more meaningful, everything else goes up. Everything else gets easier. It's your professional easy button. And Meredith is also saying, she's like, Jesus came to show humility and how to serve others, not to elevate self. Amen. So she's acknowledging you. Right. She's acknowledging you there, Brenda. So I love that we were able to do this. And regardless of what comes later, you don't do it for the sake of expectation. That's one thing. And I know Brenda is never an expecting kind of person, which is why I love and adore you. But it does, the energy is contagious. And when you are sending out the right kind of energy, just the most amazing things will happen to you. So if someone's watching right now and they're feeling like maybe they're on that island of alone, or they're feeling that they're doing something they can't handle, or maybe they're a corporate America person and they're like, Laura, but I do build relationships, but it doesn't work. And they're just sitting there, butting us right now. But, and then they interject their own situation. Or maybe they're an entrepreneur. They're like, but I got to pay the bills. What would you say to that person, knowing what you know now about the strength of relationships versus just buy my stuff, knocking on doors, pitch slapping? What would you tell them why they might want to consider relational networking?
I would say it's important, just simply, what's the easiest way to say this? I think it's just you treat people the way you want to be treated. It's a golden rule. It's not a hard concept. We've been taught traditionally that in sales to just go out and sell. But people are right now tired of that. It's been a cultural shift. People want to know the people that they're buying from. They want to know that they can trust them, and they want to like them. It's just the way things are in our current situation, because there's been so much negativity. People are tired of it. And so if you can begin to build real, authentic relationships, what happens is, when people know, like, and trust you, they look for you when things happen. I have been so blessed, Laura, that 9 times out of 10, all of the events that I have been invited to have been word of mouth. I have not pitched but one time. When I pitched that one time, it got me my own television show. So I understand the power of relational networking. And that was because I had impressed somebody else who told somebody about me. I got on their show. 2 hours later, I was being offered my own television show, which I had for 6 months. So I understand that when you treat people with respect and you show a willingness to support and help them, unless they are one of the tried and true vampires, they will reciprocate. And this is the part about what I call the gut check. You have to know when to cut ties. If you meet a vampire, run, throw up the cross, get out the garlic, put the holy water on them, and exit stage right. But if you meet another servant leader, then you serve. And what's the funny part, what I love about you and I, It's like, oh, you're the best. No, you're the best. Oh, no, you're the best. Let me give you this. No, let me give you that. I always find it so hilarious for me. If I offer you something, you're going to offer me two things. It's like we're trying to outgive each other. And it's not that we're phony about it. We just really want to see each other succeed. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not a one-up situation either. It's out of an absolute genuineness of love and care. And I just so love that you said that, because that is exactly what it is. So I would encourage, if you're watching, to flip your mindset and
mm,
focus on giving, focus on serving, focus on helping people, and acknowledging that there is another way. And to just dip your toe into it, jump all in, and you'll be surprised how you'll flip the script. All of my speaking engagements, the keynotes, everything that I had prior to diagnosis were 100% referrals.
yeah.
Brenda, I didn't even have a website. I had all of the things. I did not have all the things that you should have. And as a marketer, people are like, oh, I should have all these things. And I tell them, actually, no, you don't. I mean, yes, those
Mhm.
need to happen, but you actually don't need them to sell and get opportunities. So like,
Girl,
yes,
I
you do.
have a client right
No,
now
you
that
don't.
makes over $60,000 a month and hasn't made a social media post since I'm not joking, since 1997. See, we've been taught to believe that there's only one way to do a thing, and that's not true. That's why I love teaching people the business of doing
Yep.
uh, business and doing it their way. And I have to laugh just a little bit because when you said change your mindset, I'm like, I'm a mindset coach, and you can tell I'm tired because it never even occurred to me to say change your mindset. Child, I need some sleep. But here's
You
the
know,
thing.
you know,
Yes. When you start talking about relationship network and the selling without selling, all of that comes into, as you said, it's about a skill set. You have
Mhm.
to know that when you build relationships and you prepare yourself to show up in your authentic way and add value everywhere you go, you can't help but create relationships that will nourish you as you nourish them. And like I said, those fake people will fall off because people
Yeah.
that aren't givers don't stay around me long because most
Right.
times they can't take it. They will say, "Oh, she's phony or fake," or that nobody's that nice, nobody's that happy. But if they knew my backstory, they'd understand why I live in an attitude of gratitude. And I want to say there are some things that relationship networking has given to me, and maybe they've given to you, and maybe some people that are listening. The first thing relationship networking did for me was it gave me a sense of belonging. I wasn't on the island of alone, as you say. You know, it helped me show up with more confidence because I had what I call those servant cheerleaders that were like, "You can do it, Brenda." But I don't surround myself with yes people, so those same people would say, "You got your head stuck up your butt. That's not a good idea." So there cliff. So I'm not alone. There's a group of people that really support me to be the better version of myself. And some of the benefits is I get increased visibility because they share me with their audience. Not, I didn't have to tell them to do that, but because of who I am and how I show up, they want other people to know about me, and vice versa. I do the same for them. They also enhance my credibility. I know for a matter of fact that when it comes to Zena and the crew over there, my credibility went way up because I'm Laura's friend. Okay.
Well, I hope
It
so.
also, relationship networking helps me create new connections because, again, it's about the connection I made with that individual and then potentially with other people they know. Because you know what? I met this girl named Brenda. She's also here. You got to meet her. I've had so many people say, you got to meet her. And then
Yep.
there's the stuff that always happens, the business growth. Just today, I've had two referral people come to me because of something I did for somebody years ago. And they go, Brenda, do you still? Yes, I do. And here we go.
Yeah.
And why did they see me? Because of Zena's thing. They hadn't seen me in years, but they saw one of the advertisements on somebody else's platform about me being on Zena's thing. And from that, I got two people already. So having relationships, because remember, all relationships some are just seasonal. Some are
Mhm.
those type that, like you say, they may not be in the penthouse, but they're in the parking lot, but they still remember you. Hey, Brenda, how you doing? I'm in the parking lot, but I know who you are. And that parking lot person will still may hold you in high esteem and make a phone call.
I love that. I love that. As you're saying parking lot.
Relationships.
No, I love that. Thank you for sharing. As you're saying parking lot, the visual that's running through my head, so I'm upgrading my own visual,
Mhm.
is when you're saying there's seasonal people. I feel like, you got this nice, beautiful high rise, and all of a sudden, the parade goes down for whatever
Mhm.
holiday or whatever season.
Yep.
So they might be parade float people that are,
Mhm.
as they're passing by
Waving
or
at
remembering you. Yeah, how you doing? What's going on? And so, they're valuable where they are, and everyone has their value, but it gives you
Mhm.
freedom of energy to know where to spend your energy. And you can curate the environment, the culture, the network that you want, and the support system. It's available. And I like to say that relational networking is the life raft off the island of alone, and it is your
Mhm.
professional easy button. And one of our members inside of the community always likens our community. She says, what this has done for me? She says, I could spend thousands of dollars on a coach or somebody that's going to really up my vibrational energy, but I've got a mini mastermind community that I can bounce ideas off, give me support, and they're going to give me that answer. It's not going to be a yes girl answer. She said,
Mhm.
I always feel better when I leave. And that's it. That's what it's really all about. And so, Brenda, you did make me look like a rock star. The summit was amazing, but I hope this is helpful for those that are watching. And Meredith is saying also, because she's watching, say, yes, we all need our friends who speak the truth to us.
Mhm.
With love,
It's
yes.
up, and I'm happy to have those in my life.
Yeah, me too. I mean, just tell me, but tell me kindly.
Yeah,
And I
I think
try to
something else
always,
that you said, because you
yeah,
you talked about the different stages of where they are in your high rise last night. But I want people to say relationship networking for some people may sound really overwhelming, especially if they're introverted. And you can speak to
yes,
that since you are.
yep.
And that's not me. I've never met a person I didn't like. So, and, even ones that don't like me, because it's a choice. I understand I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I want people to understand relationship networking doesn't have to be overwhelming. And it doesn't mean that everybody that you connect with relationally is part of your inner circle. My inner circle is very tight. Okay, there's few people that see. Laura doesn't have to make an appointment to see me. She just sends me a text and says, "Hey, when are you free?" We make arrangements, we get on it. There's other people that have my cell phone, but they still need to make an appointment. And then there's other people that have my cell phone, I don't even answer it. It's just like, I'm just being real here. And you got to get clear on what level of access, especially when you start moving up in what you're
Mhm.
doing. It doesn't mean that you feel like you're better than people, but there's only so many hours in the day. And when you live with chronic pain like I do, I don't have the bandwidth to be there for everybody every time. So I had to get clear on who are my inner circle, who's my inner outer circle, and then who's all the other little rings that go in and out. And then, like I said, there's the seasonal people. You love them. I have a friend right now that every time I talk to her, she's more than a business person. She's a friend and a business partner. But we may talk every 5 years, but it's just like we just talked yesterday.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
and then there's the seasonal people, they kind of come and go. It's like, oh, I'm so glad when you're here, but I'm glad to see you go. You know?
It's I
So
say
you
you
got to
love
know
them
the
where they
level and
are.
be okay with that.
Yes. Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up. You love people where they are. They all are valuable.
Mhm.
And yes, it does require clarity and valuing your worth. And one of the blessings this health journey has taught me is the value of the energy spend. And
Mhm.
so as an introvert, I gain power from within, and I expend energy by doing things like this or being with people. And so I have to be very careful where I'm spending my energy because I have a limited amount of it physically. And
Mhm.
so the way I look at it is I feel like I wake up every morning with $5 in the bank of energy, and where am I spending it today? Because when I'm out of $5, I'm out. There's no getting it back. So where am I going to invest? So not spend, where am I going to invest my
Mhm.
$5 that'll up my vibrational energy? And that's how I move forward. Now, I'm pretty sure, Brenda, we woke up with maybe $3 or 250 this morning after last night.
I'll give it about 250 this morning. And
So
when you say that, Laura, do you remember when the sales genius, I believe his name is John Ingram, said he talked about, or was it Sean? One of the two. I'm gonna have to look at my notes. Well, one of these gentlemen, it was Sean. Your million
Sean,
dollar, your $1 million identity. When he
yes.
said that, resonated with me so much because I started thinking, how would $1 million Brenda interact with people? What is going on? Because there again, and it goes back to, there's a sense that I say I would act no different as I go through my inner outer circles, because I'm no respecter of person, because my mother raised me right, thank God, rest her soul. But what I do understand is that $1 million Brenda now has more balls to juggle. So that means she has less time to invest in all of this. And she has to have a schedule where she books appointments to speak to even people she care about. But even
Yeah.
with that, there's still that one set. There's that one core set of
Yep.
people that always has access that you treat like family. And I just want to say we
Absolutely.
got to give ourselves permission to say, I don't have the bandwidth. I can't invest that at this time, and be okay to let people know, but I'm willing to see you then. As I spoke to a young lady today, and she really wanted to meet with me, and I said, you know what? Normally I would say yes, but today I'm exhausted. Would it be okay with you if we met next Monday? Now, if this is an emergency, I'll make an exception and meet with you Saturday. And I felt so blessed when she said, if you're that tired that you're going to make me wait, I will wait till Monday. It's not that important. Do you not think I'm not going to make time for her on Monday? Because we had a
She's gonna get the best version of you
look,
on Monday with
she
like
had
bonus.
she had a 15-minute slot is what she scheduled for. She wrote back and said, I think you made a mistake. You gave me an hour. I said, oh no, that hour is for your willingness to wait. And she wrote back all these emojis. She's happy. I'm happy because I'm thinking she was considered enough of how I felt in my time. Most people be like, well, you know, I get a whole bunch of pushback because they're ready, you know? But because of her kindness and understanding that I just was not in a mental or emotional place to deal with that right now, I'm going to give her the time because I have it on Monday. So that's important to do that. And that's, again, it's with any relationship. It's not just our business relationship. It's with our family, our personal, with our significant others. Are we giving ourselves permission to invest fully and at a way that's beneficial for them and for us? Because sometimes you have to opt out.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. And yeah, it again with the health journey is what I've had to do. And I'm a recovering perfectionist and I try to do it all on my own. And when my father was sick, which is what was the whole trajectory changing moment to create me as a stress commando, I tried to do it all. And it's a horrible strategy for anyone who thinks it's a great idea. I'm telling you right now, it's not. Do not do that. Learn from my mistake. And so, with my mom being sick recently, I knew I needed help and assistance and I knew the energy expense was going to be really high. And so I had to be very, very critical about what I could do and ask for grace. And that's what you are, you are giving us an example of, Brenda, is asking for grace and where can I spend my $5 or my $2.50 today. And I will tell people, you know what, I am really exhausted. I'm in a high pain day. You're not going to get the best version of myself. Would you mind if we did this? And if they are the right kind of person that needs to be in more of an inner circle, they will give you that grace. So if you want to have more heart-centered people in your community, in your spheres, that's how you do it. You give them an opportunity to show you who they are. And that's by asking for grace. It's not taking advantage. But there are times when you really have to embrace the word can't. I just can't do that right now. And I want to give some shout outs to Meredith. She's like, Laura's definitely in my inner circle.
Yeah.
And Meredith too. Meredith consistently gives me grace. She gave me grace this morning. We had our client meeting this morning and I was like, I'm going to be a little bit late. It's a little bit of a slow morning. And Meredith is exceptional at extending grace and giving me that. So Meredith, thank you. And if you want those kinds of people around you, number one, you have to make a choice that you want to be that person and then be that person to everybody else. And those that don't fit within that parameter, you might need to bless and release and recognize that you need to be in a different room with different people with different mindsets. And that's okay. And you just love everybody where they are. And so what I would say, Brenda, as we're kind of wrapping up here, I love how all of this really connected and the relational networking. And I don't even know where it's going to go in the future. But what's so interesting to me is one of the speakers, I was connecting with different speakers and I really enjoyed what they were saying. It was Sean, who you mentioned. It was crazy. It was like, if you know the whole thing about 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's just another example of how small the world is and how connected we all are. He and I are in the similar geography, but he has some of the same connections I do, but the connections aren't connected.
Yeah.
So I'm like, explain this to me. What is the inflection point that got you to this person and this person? Because to me, they're like this. In my world, they're like this. They don't know each other. But he and I have a lot of the same people that we're connected to. And we were commenting on that. He's like, Laura, I cannot believe we have some of the same people. I'm like, no kidding. And so back to reputational capital, he's like, we absolutely have to connect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because of who I have and who I'm connected to. He's like, we absolutely have to connect. There was a couple of the other speakers that are like, hey, if you're a friend of Zena's, you're a friend of mine.
Mhm.
Zena and I connected because she saw how I showed up on a challenge.
Yeah.
And I just am impressed by the fact that people would just blindly trust. So back to what you had said, I'm going to show up as excellently as I can to edify
Mhm.
Zena
That's
and to
right.
say, no, it was worth you trusting in me. I'm going to be very careful and take very good care of her reputational capital by
Mhm.
showing up excellent for these people. So I I really want you, if you're watching this, to know that
Mhm.
it is possible to not dread going to work every day. It is possible to not dread being around people, even though you're an introvert. And it is possible to have people that pour into you in a vibrational energy way, even on a day when you're exhausted. You barely got $2.50 in the bank account of vibrational energy. It really can be there for you. And Meredith is saying, I didn't used to be good at giving myself grace. It took me a long time to work on that. You can't extend grace to others if you can't accept it yourself.
So
Yeah, you
true.
cannot give what you don't have. It's that simple. You have to have it to be able to give it. I remember when my mom was treating, and Meredith, thank you for that. That's beautiful. When my mom was being the physical caregiver for my dad, and I would come home to give her a break, I didn't know how to physically do that. I was the
Mhm.
financial caregiver. So I'd give mom an hour break, and mom would try to, do laundry or do something else at the house. And I would go, no, mom, you need to rest and take care of you. Like mom needed to give mom grace, right?
Mhm.
She needed to have a break. I said, mom, who's going to take care of dad if nobody takes care of dad's caregiver? I can't do the financial caregiving and the physical caregiver. I can't do both. I
Mhm.
absolutely need you to take care of you. And I remember she just kind of sat back and then we moved forward. And I've used that story as a reminder for myself because I'm exceptionally my mother's daughter in that way. And I do the exact same thing and realize, no, for me to continue to make the people that I care about a priority, for me to be able to show up excellent with Brenda or to even do this video, I have to make sure that I'm giving myself grace. And then I'm in a position to give others grace, give others the permission they need to get themselves off the hook. So,
Okay.
Brenda,
If you will let
oh,
me just really quickly
yeah,
before we go,
please.
because we talked about in your title, you said it was selling without selling. And I don't, for those stickler people that will say, well, you didn't really tell us. Well, yeah, here, this is it. I want
Thank
you to
you.
adjust your mindset to acknowledge the fact that you have to have a clear strategy for how you're going to sell without selling. And that would be like showing up in events like with Zena, where we were able to display our expertise. And literally, Zena did all the selling for us by having her assistant Kelly put our links and stuff in the chat. And for the people that are going to buy the replays. So that was a way for us to sell without selling. And then when you give your free lead magnet, etc., you put your information in there. So when people review that, you're selling without selling. You also have to have, in addition to your strategy for how you're going to sell without selling, is create a structure for that. And a structure is by building lead magnets with clear calls to actions, setting up your workflows, lining up your funnels, etc. And then finally, having systems that allow your strategies and your structures to work, rinse and repeat, go look, mind no hands, get clear on your automations, and then you can sell without selling.
I love that. That was where I was going in the next question. And if you're watching and you're not in sales, if you're watching and you're in corporate, the same strategy applies. Every promotion, every raise, every new job came because of the relationships that I built and the way that I showed up and the way that I connected with departments that I had nothing to do with, all of a sudden led to an opportunity. I didn't connect for the sake of the opportunity. I did it because it was the right thing to do and to learn. So be curious and you will sell without selling. Now, how did I know? So I'm going to put the marketer hat on for a second. How did I know Zena's event was an easy yes for me? Was simple. Her ideal client, the people that were going to be in attendance, are my ideal client. And when
Absolutely.
I'm saying ideal client, I'm not talking people with money. If you have to think of anyone or someone with money, you're going to get nobody. So in the traditional networking sense, hey, I'm looking for anyone or someone who wants no. You're going to get nobody.
Mhm.
When you can have that clarity of who it is that you need, everything becomes an easy yes, an easy no, or an easy not right now. And so when Zena presented this, I thought, this is an easy yes. This is 100% aligned with my ideal client. I know what Brenda's ideal client was. I know what her skill set was. Like, this is going to fit with you. I knew it would fit with Deb. So I knew making this referral was the right fit. And
Mhm.
that's how you get to be known as someone who is resourceful. And in the corporate space, it was the same thing. I knew enough about the other people. I had built a relationship that I could make those connections. I could create solutions because I knew enough about them. So I would encourage you, if you want to sell without selling, you're always selling yourself by the way that you're showing up.
Mhm.
And your reputational capital and the way you're adding to it or taking away from it is the currency that gives you the sales and opportunities that you have no idea are around the corner. You will never know the opportunities not offered to you. Not ever.
That's true.
You will never know. You will never know the job or promotion that was never offered to you because of a lack of reputational capital. But you will know about these opportunities. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, they're so lucky, they always get these things, that might be a clue that there's an opportunity for you to change your mindset. I had that same clue given to me, and I was able to change my mindset. And I think Meredith is summing it up really well for us. She's like, people are always watching.
Always
They
watching.
are, even when you think they are not, they always are. And so I hope this was helpful for those that are watching this live on replay. And Meredith, thanks for playing along. And if you've been engaging with us in chat, because I can see several others watching live and I'm not seeing it here, I promise you I will go back and answer your questions and make sure Brenda acknowledges an answer. So I'll tag her on any comments in case our platform's not bringing up the comments. And Meredith is like, yes, people are always watching you and not in a creepy way. Yeah, exactly.
You know, Laura, really quick, do you know, Andrea said last night, Andrea Merrill, one of the speakers, she said that there are 7,500 podcasts posted a day, and we need to be on them. So if you're an entrepreneur out there and you're going, oh, how do I sell without selling? Get on other people's podcasts so you can use their platforms to sell without selling. There's just so many different options really out there. And we need to take the opportunity to really be visible and show up so people can begin to know, like, and trust us.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And if you want to connect with Brenda, reach out whatever platform you're watching on, Facebook, LinkedIn, or on YouTube. If you're on my channel, send me a private message. If you're on the Down and Dirty Networking channel, send me a message and we'll get you connected to Brenda. But it would be a good thing if you want to know what we learned out of 14 speakers last night. We'll be happy to give you that information and have a conversation because it was a really, really great event. And who knows, it might be something that can help propel you forward and get you off the island of alone and make things a little bit easier for you, because I'm tired of hard. I want things easy. I want them fun and easy, to be perfectly clear on what I want. I want them fun and easy. But I recognize that sometimes it takes a lot of work to make things simple. And so I rely on the help of others to help me simplify things. And so Brenda's one of those people that always makes things fun. She helps simplify. She definitely helps me get on to easy street. So Brenda, any last words for our audience that's watching?
Just as always, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely and choose to keep following Laura, because she is going to help you reduce your stress, because she is the Stress Commando.
Brenda, you're so good. I appreciate you so much. Love and adore you. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you watching live and on replay, thank you. If this has been helpful, give us a thumbs up, tag a friend, share, join in the conversation, and let's keep it going beyond this live. And stay tuned. We've got a bunch of really great resources for you on our Down and Dirty Networking LinkedIn and Facebook page. And if you're thinking, okay, I need to adopt this relational networking mindset, but I need to know more, if you go over to the Down and Dirty Networking YouTube channel, there are curated playlists of videos that will absolutely get you moving forward and helping out. And so with that, thank you guys so much. And Brenda, let's leave with some good news. Meredith is saying bye, that she joined your community.
Thank you.
You're going to enjoy the heck out of having Brenda as part of your community. So that is awesome. So with that, I love connecting amazing people together. And you two are very amazing, both you and Meredith. So I can't even wait to see what that happens. So until next week, I will go live every Wednesday, or not on Wednesday like today, but stay tuned till next Wednesday for our next edition of Network Know-How, where we help you network more stress-free like we do in our Down and Dirty Networking community. And until then, Brenda, thanks so much. And everybody, happy networking.